Are we live? Of course we are, it's a fucking recording. Welcome to the Weirdnet podcast. Hey. Fantastic. Anyway, I thought I would throw together some sort of audio only thing, just for really giving some updates on this channel, other ideas I've got in the works for videos, for other bits and pieces, taking in any suggestions that you folks may have, and I would love to hear them, whatever they may be. So a podcast, since every other fucker's doing one nowadays. Anyway, let me start. Where do I start? Where do you start on a podcast? On a first one you've never done before, and that you're sitting in your room recording alone and feeling kind of weird talking out loud. Anyway. So yes, the Weirdnet is back, and I've been making more videos, and the cap I'm wearing just bumped into my mic, so let me move that back. So yeah, Weirdnet's back, making videos, more videos. Those two that I uploaded recently, the ASMR one and the one on Deoxy.org, I've had those. They were ones I was going to have done before I walked away for the whole thing, which I'll get into in some manner, I'm sure, as I go through this rambling broadcast. But yeah, D-Man in particular, I think it's D-Man009 on Twitter, I may be wrong. It was him who suggested the ASMR one, and I had also done a poll on Twitter about a year ago, and that got the vote. So hey, there you go. Eventually, and like my Twitter bio says, like a disappointing child, always promising so much and delivering so little. Also want to give a wee shout out to a gentleman called Jack Rook, who commented on the Deoxy video and suggested doing a deep dive on Discordianism, which is a subject quite close to my heart. I fucking love Discordianism. I get into that through like Robert Anton Wilson, who is one of my absolute heroes. So yeah, I'm doing some work on that just now. I've sort of mapped out a basic overview of Discordianism, and then I'm going to try and go in and break it down, simplify it a wee bit, because one of the things we do in the Weirdnet videos is, as much as I want to go deep into the subjects themselves, I don't want to go overly complicated and drag it out. I think some of the videos have maybe been a wee bit too long, or in another way, they're potentially, when I do them, I think sometimes that they're too short, because there's so much more that I would really like to put into the videos each time. But I try and keep it to a fairly reasonable sort of thing where you're not going to lose interest, where hopefully I can keep your attention for about 15 to 20 minutes. But the Discordian one, I'm sure that is probably going to be a longer one, because it's a fucking heavy, complicated thing. But I really look forward to doing that one, and I think Keys will get a good laugh out of it, hopefully, because it's suitably weird. It is also technically boosted by the internet, certainly parts of it. So it's an interesting one to go off on. It actually leads me on to something I was thinking about in general, and something I'd mentioned in my comment back to Jack on the comments on YouTube. I've got an idea about expanding the remit of the Weirdnet so that it's not just purely 100% online things. I think that you've got channels like Nightmare Expo, who is one of my favourites. Ryan seems like a fucking great guy as well. Great videos all the time, consistently. People like him and loads of other ones are doing really good content on stuff that I'm personally, I suppose, not that interested in, like a lot of Reddit stuff, and I know I'm probably missing out, but I've got other things that I need to do, and I don't really have the time to sit on Reddit and sift through it, or go through 4chan, or whatever it may be. I'm nearly 40-year-old, I've got other stuff I need to be doing right now. Which is partly why the channel was on hiatus, shall we say, for so long. I work 2 jobs at the moment, so I work in a DIY shop because I'm so manly. And I also run a karaoke at the weekends in a pub in Glasgow, in like an old man's pub. It's not really an old man's pub, that's unfair, it's fucking great, I love it. I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to get them any grief, but it's a great laugh. But basically that means most of my time is spent working nowadays. So getting these videos in has been possibly actually the result of being in some sort of manic episode, because I've been a bit sort of over the top and very productive, which, well, we'll see. Either way, as long as I'm getting more stuff done and it's still good and I'm not proclaiming that I'm God or going and fucking spending sprees, then it's fine. So I'm just going to ride the wave, shall we say, which I'm hoping that's all it is, really. It's just like a good wave of productivity and creativity after quite a while of lying dormant. So I like taking the Weirdnet away from being 100% the internet based, because there's so many other really, really interesting, bizarre things in the real world, and it's what's the saying, that reality isn't only more bizarre than you think, it's more bizarre than you could possibly think, or something like that. And that, in my experience, seems to be actually pretty true. So keep it weird, as I'm apparently saying now. Exploring other sort of areas which I've personally got a lot of interest in, and so I think I could probably give a fairly good description and representation of in a fair, balanced way, without being like a total fanboy, or without being like a total critic at the same time. So there's loads of Discordianism. That one, I think, is a definite. That's the fact I've started working on it suggests that I probably will run with it. But I sat and scratched out a wee list in work last night as well about other ones that I could do, because there's like, because it might not surprise you for somebody who does the Weirdnet. I'm probably a fairly weird guy in that my interests are eclectic, occult at times. Nothing super dodgy or anything like that, just fucking magic, mysticism, that sort of thing. Anyway, I thought about doing videos on everything from Discordianism, led me on to thinking about doing something on the Church of the Subgenius, which is sort of like an offshoot of Discordianism. But even prior to those two, I had actually started out planning out a Weirdnet video for a guy called Terence McKenna, who, if you haven't heard of him, go and check him out if you're interested in philosophy, psychedelics, linguistics. The guy was referred to as the bard of psychedelics. He was just a fantastic poet and wordsmith when it came to describing these insane experiences and theories. And he had a lot of really cool theories and a lot of bullshit as well, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not like he was infallible, but like the stoned ape theory, that was really good. Time Wave Zero, less so, but I think that's probably because he sort of overshot the runway with his idea of what the results of Time Wave Zero were actually indicating. Not that they were indicating the end of the world. It's complicated, I'll go into that another time. But anyway, interesting guy. His brother Dennis McKenna, who's still alive, does a lot of work with MAPS and a lot of the other psychedelic organisations, a lot of entheogenic stuff, a lot of conservation, Save the Rainforest and all that gubbins. So Terence, his late brother, is a really interesting guy to check out. So I thought he could be cool to do one on. One of my other personal heroes, Alistair Crowley, which I know saying that will probably lose me subscribers, but I don't give a fuck. Because Alistair Crowley is actually an interesting guy who's hugely misunderstood. Hugely misunderstood. Not a Satanist by any stretch of the imagination. And the guy was basically a fucking troll hundreds of years before trolling existed. The guy just, oh my god, brilliant. But he'd be an interesting one. Other things as well, like things like QAnon, I would quite like to look into that, but at the same time, I don't really want to poke that beehive. Fucking gangs of MAGA conspiracy theorists saying, yeah, you believe the lies. You believe the lies. So, but that would be quite cool because I think it's quite interesting. It's an interesting avenue of thought, shall we say. An interesting thing that's appeared online, but excuse me, we'll take a drink. I thought about maybe doing one on Pizzagate. But then I thought, no, man, that's just that could just stir up way too much shit. If you go one way with it and try and say, look, it's a lot of shit, blah blah blah. You've put these pieces together. One side will say, no, you're part of it, and you're like, fuck. But if you're on the other side and you think it's like 100%, no, that's everything that is related to pizza must be related to paedophilia. If you say, if you go on their side, then you're fucking bonkers. So I would have liked to have taken a sort of in between, but it's the internet and that's not really possible apparently. So I thought maybe skip that one. Could be interesting though, but that's probably a bit too heavy going for a channel that I intended to be quite fun and entertainment based, not super serial. What was other stuff? Meme magic. I had mentioned doing something on that before actually when I'd done the video on Keck. That could be quite cool because there's a lot of that which, should I say, bled online from its original inceptions in the 80s with like Phil Hine. But then how that then went online, especially the early bulletin boards. There were early Chaos Magic bulletin boards in the like super early 90s. And Chaos Magic being what it is and using the appropriation of any possible means with which to obtain an outcome, it makes sense that it became a big thing online. So there was, is it cybermancy? I think it's cybermancy is the preferred term for using technology in a magical context. There was a lot of really cool stuff around about it, a lot of really underground stuff you could find in like the Grey Lodge archives. That was a really good resource, which I think I mentioned that in the Ong's Hat video as well now I think about it, because the Grey Lodge archives, I'm sure that was his name is just completely gone from my head now and I can see his face. Joseph Matheny, I'm sure curated quite a lot of that. But so technomancy, cyber magic, chaos magic, meme magic, all that sort of thing, I believe that sort of ties in together to what could be quite an interesting, maybe like online occultism as a banner. I'm not too sure, maybe like a term to bring it all together. We'll see what happens with that as well, but I think that could also be quite interesting because again it's something that I've got a lot of experience with, a lot of interest in, and can hopefully give I suppose given that I'm totally agnostic when it comes to anything, I mean nothing at all, but I do not believe a single fucking thing until I see it for myself. I think I can provide a good balanced point, I suppose, in taking that sort of Robert Anton Wilson like model agnosticism, where you're willing to test each model to see whether it performs in reality in the way that it claims to, which can be an interesting experiment in itself. But anyway, a digression as usual. But something else that I thought, and I had started doing, I actually started a script on it at one point. It's one of these things you may never have heard of them, but I thought because they're quite obscure, but also because they're also incredibly interesting and in the most disturbing and scary ways. There's a magical order called the Order of Nine Angles, the ONA. Their backstory is crazy, man. It's very, very interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, that could be one to go into. I think that could be a really, I don't know, it's quite disturbing actually when you go into it especially for sort of if a normie type person had to become aware of the fact that there exists an order which, as part of one of its initiation rituals, you have to murder someone. Then yeah, they would probably be pretty fucking shocked, I would imagine, but it is a thing. It totally is a thing. the person who gets killed is called an alpha. I done a lot of research into them probably about 10 years ago. Yeah. I found by complete chance one of their documents online about something called Vindex, and it's horrible, man. Seriously, it's fucking horrible. It's really interesting, right? It's interesting in the way that reading about Hitler or Stalin is interesting. It's like that morbid curiosity about the depths of human nature. But they're quite neo-Nazi-like in a lot of their beliefs. It's not even, they call it traditional Satanism, as opposed to Lavian Satanism, which they consider to be basically complete pussy fucking new age stuff. Which, to be honest with you, it's basically a theatrical setup, and fair play, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. But the Order of Nine Angles is a pretty scary thing. They've been connected to a lot of minor acts of terrorism and things like that as well. Like, it's proper fucking scary stuff. Check it out, but I intend to do a video on it at some point. The guy who allegedly set them up, David Mamet, this guy's like an absolute perfect example of the most insane diversity of human thought and what's possible in one human brain. But this guy went from being, he was involved with the IRA, seriously committed to like acts of terrorism in Northern Ireland and things like that. He then became a white supremacist. He was part of like Combat 18 and all that crowd of fucking crazies, man. He was involved with all of them. The guy who done the Brick Lane nail bombings, in fact, back in the 90s in London, he was directly inspired by the work of David Mamet. Mamet then, having been a white supremacist for however long, and I mean a genuine white supremacist, I'm not talking about a fucking Twitter, just because I disagree with you on something means you're a white supremacist. Just because of the colour of your skin, you must be inherently a white supremacist. No. I'm talking the real deal, scary, fucking horrible, bad people. Not this fucking nonsense nowadays. From being that, he then converted to Islam. And I'll just leave that hanging there. Converted to Islam and started championing terrorism as a way of bringing about the ultimate goal in his mind of what Islam was supposed to do, and installing the caliphate. He got behind that. This was a guy who went from fighting for the IRA to being like genuine neo-Nazi white supremacist piece of shit to being a piece of shit Islamic terrorist. It's like, oh my god, scary but fascinating that these sort of things fucking happen. As far as I know, he's since left Islam and now does his own weirdly more peaceful mystical path called the Luminous Way. It's called, in fact, the Luminous Way. It's strange. It's very complex, his story and the Order of Nine Angles. But as you can probably tell for that wee brief description there, it's quite an interesting area. Yeah. So that went on a wee bit longer than I really intended, which isn't really surprising, I'm sure. So yes, that's what could be on the cards for another video at some point in the future. I'd written myself down some notes here as well, just trying to give myself some sort of structure, and rather than just go totally freeform on this. What we got? What am I doing now? Why the delay? Karaoke plus job. So the karaoke and the job told you about. Why the delay? Long story short, I had to sort my life out. I had to sort a lot of things out personally for myself. I had to sort of take time away from everything, social media, making videos. It wasn't that I wasn't like checking in and reading stuff, it's just I didn't really feel in a place where I wanted to interact or to necessarily interact with people in any way. I can be like that sometimes. I just want to just stay by myself and do my own thing. That's just me. But also because I find it pretty draining sometimes to have to maintain communication with lots of different people at the same time. It's quite difficult for me to organise that in my own head and to schedule it, I suppose, to give myself a routine for things like that, where I take X amount of time to respond to things like DMs, to get back to people, which is anybody who knows me in real life knows exactly what I'm like when it comes to not responding to messages and being terrible at trying to get in touch with, because sometimes I can just be a hermit. So, what's next video and channel wise? Like I said, do this podcast, more videos. I'm not really too sure. That's right, I forgot. I'd done the Patreon thing and the PayPal account thing for anybody who was able to donate. Obviously, if you're not able to, then don't fucking dare. You keep your money to yourself and sort yourself out first. That's only if anybody would be able to, then it would be appreciated, but never something that I thought I would ever really find myself doing. But then I thought, it's not really e-begging. If you're providing a product and people want to support you in making that product because they enjoy it, then that's fine. It's just a straight up transaction. And they're getting value and you're being paid for the value you're given. But at the same time, I'm more than happy for people to watch my videos for free. Doesn't bother me that I don't monetize my videos. I don't even think I can with having like less than 2,000 subscribers or whatever it is I've got. And even then, given the whole hoo-ha that's happening now and all this shit with YouTube and the hashtag Vox Apocalypse, Carlos Maza being a whiny child basically, and the way that things have gone to try and take down this alternative media and commentary scene that's existing, that's taking over from the mainstream media. And although I'm so far removed to that with the stuff I'm doing, and many of us in that sort of, I'm not really the horror community, I just do my own thing. But people who are doing their own thing on YouTube are being disproportionately punished for things that are completely nothing to do with them, and it's insane. So I don't want to get involved in the monetization thing. I don't think there would be any reason for them to delete my channel, but if they did, then I keep everything backed up on BitChute, and I'm gradually going to be making BitChute the first place that I upload everything, which also means what I was saying there about the Patreon stuff and that as well. With Patreon, I would like to, or I haven't got around to planning something to give to people who donate. I haven't really worked out any sort of extras. I'll do personalised messages and stuff like that, or I don't know. We'll figure something out. But what would you guys want for if you were donating or something? Give me a wee message in the comments. Tell me what sort of things you would like to see, because I don't know this world. I don't know this thing. This is a totally new thing to me. So I've never patronised. I don't know what's the right way to say that one, but given money to any other creators before, which is probably a bit shameful on my part. So that's where things are just now. So excuse me while I take a drink. So what else has been happening? Well, actually, oddly enough, I've got right back into electronics. Randomly and weirdly, I'm sure that just came. But I started watching videos by a guy called Simon the Magpie on YouTube, and also a guy called Look Mum No Computer, and another guy called Heinbach, who you should really check out. All three of them, they're really, really cool, good guys, and very creative and inventive musicians. But they got me back into the idea of circuit bending, which I was fascinated with about maybe 15 years ago. Started getting into it, realised I was shit at it, so stopped it. I bought all the tools and all that kind of thing, and soldering irons and the whole the whole shebang. So I had bought tools and all these different components and contact mics, and I intended to set up. I was doing a lot of noise music at the time with one of the projects I was working on, and eventually I realised I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do with it. Even though I really loved the electronics in school and physics, it was great. It was one thing I actually really enjoyed and I was quite good at. But I lost interest when I was a teenager, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I started watching those guys' videos and realised that, shit man, that was really good fun. And then it just sparked off that creative part of me that went, right, let's start making our own instruments. And ideally, the vision I've got in mind is to have some sort of musical project where I've got everything set up, and it's like Author and Punisher, really. That was a big inspiration when I first saw him. Just to be this one-man setup with all the instruments, being able to play live using nothing but electronics, like really back to basics electronica Kraftwerk, but more darker, I suppose. Like a more me version of electronica. Probably more like bands like Suicide, like Frankie Teardrop, stuff like that. That sort of minimal thing, but being able to have all these different vocal effects that I would build myself, like distortions and reverbs and all these things, just to be able to do this one-man thing. I thought it'd be really cool. So I basically spent an absolute shit ton of money on thousands of capacitors, resistors, switches, leads, electronic stuff, testing gear, all sorts of stuff, instruments. I bought loads of kids' toys as well, like kids' musical instruments, which I'm gradually bending into weird noise machines, which once I start being able to do streaming as well on here, I'll probably show you. But that started me off and actually got me thinking about doing something serious with electronics, like actually going and getting qualified in electronics, and maybe doing just like minor repairs, just something that I could work, do my own job, work, help other people, make a bit of money, and generally enjoy a job and do something that I liked, but at the same time be able to build these weird musical instruments and weird effects that nobody else had. So I came up with the name of Loft Electronics because, oddly enough, I've started building a workshop in my parents' loft, and when the summer finally comes around up here in Scotland, which could be anywhere, could be any time, you know what I mean? We're in June just now and we've had like 2 days of sunshine. I'll probably get to about September before the next weekend of sunlight actually reaches us. But when I do eventually get a chance, I'm going to build a recording, well, not a recording studio, but a recording booth, at least, or a practice booth out the back, convert my shed into a room for recording and practicing vocals in, and for doing videos and stuff like that in as well. So we shall see how that goes. Now, the music thing I do my own mini obscure micro label called Capgrass and Frigoli Recordings. If you check it out, you'll probably see I'm on SoundCloud. Yeah, SoundCloud, I'm on that. And on YouTube as well. But I haven't uploaded most of the stuff I've done because most of it is it's like all my projects, bar a couple of things that I've uploaded for other people. Like, no, actually that's bullshit. Now I think about it, that's something totally different. No, everything on that label is basically me and my brother. A vanity label, I suppose you would call it. But it's just for something to do. It groups all our projects together and it means we can have a good laugh with it and just go off in mad tangents. So there's a few weird and wonderful projects musically over there, if that's the sort of thing that takes your fancy. From vocal experiments to fictional homeless men singing improvised songs on detuned acoustic guitars. Don't ask, just check it out and listen. So, I think that's pretty much covered everything that I really wanted to say. I don't know, we'll see how this goes. I haven't ever done a podcast before, so the chances are by the time you hear this, I'll have gone back and edited out the hums and the haws and the so, the usual shit that I do when I talk all the time. Also, on hearing myself back when I've listened back to wee clips, just to test and make sure the volume was right, I realised that I still talk way too fast. But I think I remember saying this in the a couple of the live streams. It's like, you know the way you hear yourself in your head? Right, well, to me, when I try and slow my speech down, it sounds as though, to me, internally, like I've taken smack or something like that, and I'm talking really slowly. Like, I know I'm not really, but that's the way it ends up sounding to me, and I've spoken this way for so long that it's hard to get out of the habit. So please excuse the fact that I may be incomprehensible at times. I'm going to try and work on slowing that down a bit, because it's not good. It's not like, it's not even just like people around me in real life don't have a problem hearing what I'm saying too, because I tend to mumble and speak so fast. So it's not just like, oh, you're not Scottish so you don't understand the accent. I know it's not that at all. It's the whole thing. Basically. So thank you for listening. I'm hoping this has been at least somewhat informative, entertaining, interesting to you in some way, shape or form. If you would like me to keep on doing them, if it is something that's interesting to you, if you want to ask me any questions, just pop them in the comments below and I can try and address them in the next one when I get around to doing it, if I get around to doing it. I was going to try and make it a bit more formal, break it down into sessions, and I just thought, fuck it, you know what, we'll go freeform, as much as having a rough outline, sort of improvise off of the basic notes that I've got. So before I go, I just want to say thank you all so much for sticking with the channel, for your subscriptions, for your time, your likes, even your dislikes, your comments. The fact that you've taken the time to watch and subscribe really does mean a lot to me. I'm still greatly appreciative to people like Kingsbook, who really helped me boost my subscriber count when I done that collaboration with him, and me and him have more coming up in the future, I have no doubt. So I'm really grateful for it, and thank you all very much, sincerely. Take care of yourselves. It's been an absolute pleasure talking all this shite for you, and I hope you've had a laugh. Until next time, keep it weird.